All right, welcome to our channel. Thank you for tuning in. We have Charlie Spear, aka DropShockTroopr, with No Hand Water. He actually placed fourth place in the top 8 elimination. Charlie, you played some spicy stuff. We'd like to tune into your deck, but before we get into your deck profile, is there anybody you want to shout out or
Just
mention?
the whole Discord in general, all the players there for keeping the community alive and following through and actually traveling to the event.
Well, thank you, man. The Discord really did came in clutch. We had 39 players, and you played No Hand Water. Honestly, I think Water is a little underwhelming in our list, but you proved me wrong. So I'd like to see what you cooked up, man. Go ahead and dive into your deck. Show us what you got.
Yeah, so I use no hand waters to keep that in mind because a lot of effects revolve around not having a hand. And for the ninjas, I use 3 Udakata. He's the best turn 0 you want to start out with him. He really sets your chakra up. His effect, you can pay any chakra and move a non-ambush card from your deck to your chakra, so it really sets up your jutsus and cycles through effects. And then I used 2 Tracking Ninja, and this was originally 2 Haku Childhood that brings out the big Zabuza. But what I noticed is, you'll see in a minute, I use Shyman, and Shyman doesn't work well with Haku Childhood, so I just used the Tracking Ninja. It's also a 4/1, and 4 is really strong for a turn 0. Most turn 0s aren't have 4. And then I use 2 Jirobo. He also has 4 attack, and he can reinforce into Jirobo State 2 later in the game. I used 1 Kyo, and this card wasn't really on my radar until I saw other players in the Discord using it. It has Ambush. His effect's pretty good. You can remove a card from your opponent's chakra area, and then they move the top card of their deck to their chakra. So you can get rid of Ambush Ninjas.
Very nice.
And then I had 2 Kushina and an Ink Leech. The Kushina, when she's put in play, you move the top 2 cards to your chakra. The Ink Leech moves 3. And in No Hand Water, it's almost like a draw 2 or a draw 3 because you want everything in your chakra anyway. And Kushina has growth, and she's semi-limited, so that's why you use 2. This is the Karine I like to play. She's really good. Her effect makes it so both players play with the top of their deck revealed. And then if you have 2 or less cards in your hand, you can play the top card of your deck if it's a water card. I used one of this Karine just to help with healing if it was a really aggressive deck. Her effect can come in handy when you remove a card from their discard pile to their chakra, so you can stop Heat Dawn and certain effects like that if you don't want the cards in their discard pile. And then I also use 2 Kidomaru State 1. He's just really good. He's a turn 1. He has 2 support, which is standard, but he also reinforces in the Kidomaru State 2. He has 2 mental power too, which is nice.
Uh-oh.
And then I use 2 Shyman. Shyman's really strong. It makes it so players can only deploy. They can't use any put and play effects. He isn't valid, but he's really strong. No Hand Water can go into some of the reinforcements, but it's not mandatory, and he helps shut down a lot of decks that do a lot of put and plays.
Yeah, let's stop here for the Shiwan. I think this is a very spicy tech that you use. I would like to dive in a little bit about this because this card, I would feel like this is the MVP of the whole deck. Our
Yeah, he's
list,
really strong.
yeah, our list is really spam heavy. So you playing this shut down a lot of decks. In your matchups, did this come up a lot? Like, did you have any matchups where this kind of stunned your opponent very hard?
It did come up a lot, and usually I try and go into him. A couple of the matchups he didn't help, but most of the time I'm trying to use makeout tactics to play him. Because almost every deck uses put in plays, even if they just want a growth and stuff like that, so he stops them all. I had one Kagiri in the main. He has ambush, and he was mainly in here for the Zetsu if they're trying to track my Suigetsu or my Sasuke, or if they have the Kiba, you can't play jutsus. His effect is you can target a ninja or a client, and their effect's negated for the turn. So if I use him on Zetsu or Kiba, I can push at least on my turn. And I had one Yoroi. He's limited to one. He's really good. He can discard a lot of chakra. His effects really strong when you attack. You select a ninja, and if that ninja is sent out to battle during this turn and the next turn, you can discard two of your opponent's chakra. And I think his effect doesn't actually affect the ninja, so it can get around stuff like K and S.
Very nice.
And I had two Suigetsu. He's really important. He's one of the key cards. A lot of people use three, which is good too. But I wanted to fit in like the Shaimans and the Kagiris. And I think two is enough because I saw him a lot. And his effect is if you have no hand at the start of the turn, you draw a card. So if you have no hand, you draw with Suigetsu, and then you draw for a turn. And it's really strong because then you have a hand cost to play missions, so you can play missions immediately. And as a bonus, he has another effect where if you have no hand, teams can't use mental power battles, which can be relevant.
Very nice.
I had one Toby. He's really good as a one of. He's valid, which is really good. And his effect is you can name a card type. So like a mission, a ninja, a jutsu. And if the top card is the card type, you move the top card and a card from your discard pile to your chakra. So he's really good at getting chakra, and you can recover your ambush ninjas and your jutsus. And
Yeah.
then also combos with the Karine, because the Karine you play with the top revealed, so you just know what the card is, so you can call it right every time. And if you use his effect blindly, you almost always say ninja, because most of the deck is ninjas, so statistically it will probably be a ninja.
Yeah. Probability is higher.
And I have one Hedon. This is the first card I always search out with Utakata because you want him in the discard pile. So I'll use Utakata, get Hedon, and then next turn I'll pay Hedon and get a Jutsu. And his effect is if he's in the discard pile, if your turn marker is 4 or more, you can give your opponent a battle reward and put him in play. And he's really important because you need to have a lot of ninjas out, and he's just a free 5-0. So you have to give him a battery ward, but he's potentially blocking a team where they might have gotten 2, or he's just a team with 5 attack by himself. So he's really good for tempo and just having ninjas in play.
Has he ever conflicted with Shimon in any of your matchups?
He does, and I was debating taking him out for the Kimi Maru that can negate jutsus. But he in the matchups that you don't need Shyman, he's just really strong because it's a free 5-0. And it helped a lot against certain matchups like NVS where you just need ninjas on field.
Hmm.
I have one of this Kasame. This Kasame is really good. It makes it so your opponent can only get one chakra every turn.
Nice.
He's just really strong.
Yeah. Standard water.
I have one of the Sabuza, even though I wasn't playing the Haku Childhood, just because he's pretty good. And potentially, if Shyman isn't out, you can squad him and Haku. He has ambush and he's valid. And then the one of Sasuke, he's limited to one, but he's the heart of the deck. His effect is if your opponent's ninjas are injured or get damaged, they go straight to chakra. So you're gonna see with the jutsus, their ninjas will go straight to chakra, and it turns all the jutsus into removal. And for the missions, I played one broke. And originally, right before the tournament, I had 3 dehydrations, and I took a dehydration out for a broke, just because I noticed there was a lot of times I'd have 2 dehydrations in my hand and no like targets that were worth using both of them on. And it definitely came up. It helped first a lot of decks that draw a lot like fire, wind, earth.
Very spicy.
I had one crying in vain. It's limited to 1. It's just really good. It's the same effect as Shyman, except it only works for your opponent. So your opponent can only deploy. And it's also permanent for 4 turns, which is really strong. There's not a lot of missions that are permanent for 4 turns. I had 3 makeout tactics. I think that's mandatory in No Hand Water because you're going to have so much chakra. You can search any ninja you need. I had 3 monster research. I think 3 is good. You could cut 1 and play something else like a tech card. But so monster research, you reveal top 4 cards and your opponent makes 2 piles. So most of the time you're getting 2 cards off the 4. There are some situations where they'll make a 3-1 pile. But it ends up working out because like with this Toby, and there's some jutsus and other effects where you're going to recover cards from your discard pile, so you're going to get those resources back anyway, so discarding the cards doesn't affect you as much. And I had 3 Friendship from Sorrow. I think you should be playing 3 in No Hand Water. I've seen some people play only 2. But with Udakata, you can get it into your chakra area, and so it has a chakra effect. Well, when it's in the chakra, you can remove this and another chakra, and then you can kill a non-ninja card. So it's really important getting rid of if they try and use comparative strengths or dehydration on your Suigetsu or Sasuke. And it can also hit clients, and the main 3 would probably be like Futaba, Amina, Lady Haruna. And if you think about it, you're probably going to see in a lot of lists that people are side decking multiple Hinas, or some fire decks will main deck them. But this is almost like a main deck Hina in water that has synergy. And you can also just use it as a mission too. It's pretty good. And then I had 2 dehydration. It's just really good. You can stop problem ninjas, turn their effects off. And if it's early in the game too, you might be able to get a draw or 2 off of it. It's really good. I had one Suigetsu's Joy. It's limited to 1. This card's really broken. It's really strong, especially in No Hand Water. You're not going to see a lot of decks that are just water use it, except for No Hand Water. And what it does is both players keep 1 card in your hand, and then they charge all the cards and then draw 2. So it really cuts down their hand size. It cuts yours down too, but you don't really mind that in No Hand Water. And then 1 Thread of the Tailed Beast. It's really good. It's also limited to 1. It's a turn 3. And you can discard up to 3 of your opponent's chakra and then get up to the same amount back. So it'll help you recover cards. And later in the game, it's almost like a 6 chakra swing where you get rid of 3 of theirs and you get 3. It's really strong. For the jutsus, I have 3 Earth Dome. Earth Dome is you can discard 2 of your opponent's chakra, and then you get 2 cards from your discard back to chakra. And Expert Jirobo, if Jirobo uses it, you draw a card. And it's really important because I feel like No Hand Water is very vulnerable to jutsus up until turn 3. There's not much you can do. Because you need like Suigetsu out, or maybe if you main deck Sakon, or you get Keto State 2, then you can use Striking Shadow Stick to negate a jutsu. But up until turn 3, you're really vulnerable. So you really want to play Earth Dome on turn 1 if they already played a turn 1 mission, or on turn 2 so that they can't use a lot of jutsus early. And then also keep in mind, Expert is mandatory. So if you use it later in the game with your Robo, you'll have to draw a card and then you won't be on no hand. And then 3, Chidori. This is one of the main jutsus in the deck. Its effect, it targets a ninja buying against the user and injures it. But if you have Sasuke out, it just sends it to Chakra, so it's removal. So it can get rid of any jutsus. If they play a jutsu, you can play Chidori, send their user to Chakra, the jutsu will fizzle. It's really strong. And then I had 2 Striking Shadow Snakes. I think 3 is good too, but 2 is enough because you're probably not going to have enough Chakra to use all 3 at once anyway. And its effect is it targets a jutsu being played, and it changes the effect to injure the user. So with Sasuke, it'll just remove them. And also, it's not an actual negate, it changes the effect so it can get around stuff like reverse tetragram that can't be negated. And so that's it for the main deck. The reinforcement is mainly just stuff I can go into. I didn't go into it a lot because I had Shyman out most of the time. But I did go into this Keto State 2 a bit. He's really good. He's one of the best turn 4 reinforcements. He doesn't have a hand cost. And then I had 3 Jirobo State 2. It's just something I can go into. Hedon Curse Mode. I do have some lightning and fires because of the makeout tactics. Monster Research, you can go into them. I had 2 Haku Zabuza. You can just go into them. I had 2 Kasame. I have 2 of this Sasuke. You probably never want to go into them because you have to get rid of your good Sasuke, but maybe.
Let's see that side deck. The spice.
Yeah, so for the side, I never went into any of these 5. These 4 were just for mill because they have revitalized. They'll go to the bottom. Then maybe you can use spontaneous. There wasn't any mill decks at the tournament, but I like to be prepared for mill because it's really strong. And this Kiba was mainly in here for Taijutsu because there's an OTK with Taijutsu and you can't really stop it because all the jutsus are generic, so even if you like comp Lee, he can still play him. And also, Lee's, when he uses the jutsus, they can't be negated, so I could maybe stop it with Striking Shadow Snakes. But Kiba was mainly in here to stop Taijutsu OTK because I figured with the 3 makeout tactics, I could probably get him out in time. And then these ones, I went into a lot. I just used the Broke if it was versus a fire deck, an earth deck, a wind deck where they draw a lot. And then Sakon, he's really good. He has a blanket effect where if he's in play, your chakra can't be affected by your opponent's mission and ninja effects. So you can protect the chakra. There was a lot of players using counters to no hand water, and he stops most of them. There's a couple cards that affect the player, and he can't stop them, but he does stop most of them. It came up a few times. He also has ambush. His effect's decent. If you have like 1 or less cards in your hand and you attack, you can give a water ninja a growth coin so your teams get really big. And then I had 3 next target. This card came up a lot. It's a mission negate that stays on the board. I mainly had it in here for NVS, medical ninjas, battle over the barrier. I think there's some older cards too, like attack from a blind spot, where they just try and attack with a lot of teams and you can't block them. It came up a lot.
Nice.
So that's it for the main reinforcement side. I want to share a couple combos. So say it's a little later in the game and you have these 3 out. So at the start of your turn, you draw for Suigetsu, draw for turn. So you have 2 cards in your hand, and then Karin reveals the third card. Maybe you didn't have a mission. Maybe you drew like a jutsu and a ninja, and the third card's a mission. So then you can use Karin to play the mission. And if it's not a mission, you can use Utakata to reset the top of your deck. So now you see a fourth card. And then also, if you have Hidan in the discard pile, you can use Hidan to give him a battle reward. So you can see a fifth card. And you can, even if you have Shyman in play, if you were really desperate or you were ahead, you could activate Hidan to give him a battle reward just to see the next card. And then also with these three later in the game, if you're able to reinforce Kidomaru, this Kidomaru, you can discard a card, your opponent selects a ninja, and then you get to choose whether it has to be sent out or it can't be sent out. And so you can use his effect. You can make it so a ninja has to be sent out. You just call, it could be a weak ninja, maybe a standby ninja that they don't want to send out. And you can attack with your Roy or Zabuza. And since it has to be sent out, you'll discard the chakra with your Roy. Or if you win a victory with Zabuza, this Zabuza is if he wins a victory, you can bounce one of their standby ninjas. So it's just a little way to assure that you can use these effects with the Kidomaru. And then if you go on turn 0 and you play these, you're going to have 2 to 3 chakra. And these ninjas are weak. Kushina's a 0, Inkleech is a 1, and they might play a ninja that has 3 or 4 or something, but if it's injured, it might be 0. So they think that they can attack you, but if you have Chidori in your hand, you can just play Chidori, and then you'll probably get injured, but they'll lose their ninja on their turn 0, and then you'll play a turn 1, and you'll just gain a lot of tempo advantage. And I think that's it. That was the main combos.
Wow, well, that's very nice, man. Spicy, spicy deck here. I really like the main Shimon. There's a lot of pip hate in the main, which is really, really strong. Your matchups. I wanted to talk about your matchups. Was there any matchups you found particularly very difficult in the tournament?
I played 3 NVS, and I think I heard afterwards there was only 3 NVS players, and I played them all. And those were probably the hardest matchups because they're really aggressive. They get a lot of ninjas out, and this deck doesn't have a single Genin in the deck.
Wow. You played all NBS, the hardest matchup of the deck, and you defeated them all. It just shows how powerful this deck really is. Well, I'm very happy that you shared this. Excuse me, you shared your deck list with us here. Congratulations on fourth place.